Most people think inflation means prices go up. That's true, but it doesn't tell the whole story. Inflation doesn't just make things more expensive, it changes incentives and behavior for the worse. Moreover, it punishes ownership, it destroys quality, and it makes it almost impossible to build anything that lasts. I'm Parker, and today on The Government is the Problem, we're looking at inflation and the tax code in action. In the last video, I discussed inflation and the tax code as the engine behind many of the problems people argue about downstream. That video was about incentives and how the system actually functions. This video represents an expansion. Instead of theory, I want to show you what the engine looks like in motion, in everyday life, in places people already feel it, even if they've never connected the dots. This is by no means an exhaustive list. Instead, it presents tangible, real world examples that affect us every day. That said, the most appropriate place to start is property taxes. Home ownership is the dream of many Americans. Unfortunately, this is a major area that is hit hard by inflation. In a functioning system, property taxes are predictable and only rise when you improve the property. You add value, you pay more. But that's not how it works under inflation. Since housing values often track inflation, your house goes up in value on paper even if you do nothing. Standing still costs more every year, and home ownership starts to feel like renting with none of the upsides. You've worked hard and want to add a deck to the house. As nice as it looks, it does come with strings attached. Inflation already raised your assessment. Then you improve the property, and it increases again. Both increases are permanent. You paid income tax, sales tax, and inflated labor costs, then you pay higher property taxes forever. If you think the property tax situation is dire, here's the part people don't fully internalize. It's not temporary. There is no correction coming. There's no return to baseline. The government does not aim for stable prices. It has an explicit inflation target of 2% per year. That means prices are supposed to rise forever. Not during emergencies, not just sometimes, always. At 2%, prices roughly double every 35 years. There's no finish line. There's no back to normal. And once you understand that, the property tax problem clicks. Property taxes don't reset, they ratchet. Each reassessment locks in a higher baseline, and inflation guarantees the next one will be higher still, even if you improve nothing, you consume nothing more, and you do everything right. Standing still gets more expensive forever. There is no mechanism to reverse this. No relief valve, no off switch. This system isn't designed to stabilize. It's designed to expand. Once you see that inflation never stops, everything else makes sense. Why ownership feels conditional, why improvement gets punished, and why generational wealth never forms. This isn't mismanagement. It's the design working as intended. Now let's talk about what the tax code does and does not do. The tax code does not reward outcomes, but it does reward costs. If a project runs over budget, it is deductible. If materials are wasted, it's deductible. If an entire initiative fails, you guessed it, it's deductible. Failure reduces your tax liability. Efficiency does not. Doing something right the first time gets no comparable reward, and building something durable gets no special treatment. For anyone who cares about efficiency, sustainability, or competence, this is backwards. The system cushions mistakes better than it rewards getting things right. Now, what I just described isn't even the tip of the iceberg. It gets worse. The tax code is so complex that navigating it without professional help is nearly impossible. So entire industries exist purely to interpret and comply with it. Think of tax accountants, lawyers, consultants, and compliance specialists. This is not optional overhead. Oftentimes it's mandatory. This means that enormous amounts of time, money, and talent are diverted from productive work to administration. This isn't value creation, it's toll collection. And because these livelihoods depend on complexity, the complexity defends itself, making reform next to impossible. And now here's a cost to the tax code you never see on a bill, but everyone feels. Income taxes are personal and visible. Every paycheck shows what you've earned and what was taken. The system is explicitly progressive, so people are constantly comparing who pays more, who pays less, and who deserves it. The income tax turns society into a permanent scoreboard. People don't resent taxes in the abstract, they resent relative outcomes. Because the rules are complex, the reasons behind those outcomes are difficult to discern. So when some people pay less, often legally, the explanation is invisible. That resentment doesn't flow upward toward the system, it flows sideways toward neighbors. There's a reason stable societies warn against coveting your neighbor's stuff. Our tax system practically requires it. So, what's the takeaway? Inflation increases prices over time, and the tax code makes sure people fight each other over the bill, meaning inflation erodes what you build, and the tax code punishes productivity. One destroys permanence, and the other ensures you can't protect it. Not because people are bad, but because the incentives are. This is Amblehammer Forge. Let's get to work.